What's up, hobby friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, I think we have a pretty fun topic today, and I will be getting to that pretty soon, as I generally do. We kind of preface this thing with a stupid intro, so, let's get into some hobby stuff we've been working on, and then we'll get to that fun topic. So, Brent, what have you been up to in the last few weeks for hobby? We've been doing.
We'll get to it now. We're doing hoarding. The topic of the day is hoarding. Yeah, we'll do it now. All right. So basically all week I've been confronting my lifetime supply, my lifetime collection, my hoard of empty sprues. Mm-hmm.
Which are many. Yeah, I have a good amount of sprues. I see that you have many sprues. I hear that you have many sprues.
I've almost deconstructed them all, and this is just a tiny sampling that you'll see throughout this video.
Right. And I suppose we'll get to the point as to why you're deconstructing them, because reasons, but yeah.
So the topic of this podcast episode is hoarding. And for many years, I have hoarded all of my empty sprues because there's this notion that someday you're going to do something with them. Snuffles, don't eat that sprue. Oh my God. Okay. You can have it after.
Yeah. Sprues are not cat toys.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
that's
we have
the
our
reason
precious miniatures that come on these sprues, and we clip off all the bits, and we put the minis together, and we spend a lot of time and love and effort on the minis. We've got these sprues left over, and it's like, okay, it's the same material. I have more sprue than I have mini. Man, there's got to be something that these are good for.
I suppose you could melt them down and make new minis. Yeah.
You sure could. You sure could.
If you tried pretty hard, I suppose.
The melting point on this is shockingly high, actually, which is why you need some serious equipment to do the thermoplastic mold injection of polystyrene.
Yeah, there's a reason it's expensive.
Yeah. But you could use a solvent to melt this down into some sprue goo and maybe do something with that. Or you could make like some ladders that don't really look like ladders because they have weird nubs coming off of them at places where ladders don't have weird nubs coming off of them. Or you could build them into like kind of stick figure models. Or you could use it to make terrain. Or you could use them to make bricks that don't really look like bricks, but almost, but not really.
But not quite. Yeah, they're clipped weird and they're little squares. I mean, yeah, I don't. At first glance, you might get away with the brick thing, but you look close enough, and especially, most of us know what a sprue is if we worked with plastic models, and it's like, well, that's just a piece of sprue, isn't it?
Right. It's just like using terrain where you just spray paint a beer bottle. Like that's
like that's not a Pringles can, is it?
No, that's not a silo. That's a beer bottle. I could see that's a beer bottle.
Yeah. Actually, I know someone who he built these, or he sculpted these 3D parts, right? And it's like a can holder for like a beer can or soda can or whatever, and so it fits properly. The can sits there, but then he made end caps for each one, and it actually looks pretty good. I mean, you're covering the majority of the actual can part with like actual sculpted material. It looks really cool, but that's not really sprues. That's more like you're actually trying. Yeah. I don't know. I think with sprues, the coolest thing I've ever seen is where somebody does build the stick figure, but it looks pretty legit. It's like the right scale on the right bases, and you have like kind of an army going on, and they have like guns made out of sprue. I like that.
Yeah.
But then why? Why would you do that?
Yeah. I mean, this is the perfect conundrum. Like, this is the same material as your minis. There are like dozens of kind of good ideas of stuff you can do with this.
Yeah.
None of them are really great ideas, honestly. but it just falls into this nether region of maybe I'll do something with these someday, and so you stack them up. I have a little bit of a problem with hoarding, so I pile up my sprues. I'll do something with these someday. And I really came to face reality this week, and I assessed how many boxes of these things I have. And
how many boxes?
It was a lot. Yeah, so I was overflowing 2 like big Rubbermaid totes, like big storage bins, plastic storage bins. I'm like, wow, I gotta do something with these. So I came up with a hoarder's compromise, I like to call it, and my compromise was I'm just gonna break these down. I'm gonna compress them. Like I can't be going around with 2 giant totes of sprues that I don't know what I'm gonna do with.
You can't be traveling the country with totes of sprues. That's
right. I've gone
absurd.
through too many moves with these, and I had reached a point where I either need to buy a 3rd big tote to start putting sprues in, or I need to face reality here. And instead of facing reality, what I did is I decided to compress it all down to turn those sprues into polystyrene pellets.
Sprue bits.
Sprue bits, yeah.
Yeah. Sprue bits. I mean, okay. So you had these tubs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last time you moved, you had to pick these tubs up, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It didn't occur to you then that was probably a bit much?
And the last time I moved, I also took 2 futons worth of wood that I found on the side of the road. So again, this is kind of a hoarder's dilemma. And occasionally, it is nice to have a bit of wood, a bit of futon wood from the side of the road. I got some nice pieces of oak. Yeah.
Some nice pieces of oak. You're gonna do something with that.
But the uses for wood are more apparent than the uses for stupid sprues, though.
I mean, you could make a pretty cool rocking chair out of sprues, like a little guy.
Oh yeah, like a little one.
This is a little guy. Although at this point, you probably have enough. You could make a full-size rocking chair, just a Game of Thrones rocking chair where you can paint.
That's actually the best part of The Patriot with Mel Gibson. So that involves both melting down figurines to make musket balls, but also it involves making rocking chairs. That's Mel Gibson makes a rocking chair in that movie, and he sits down in it, and it just immediately breaks, and he gets really angry, and he just like trashes his whole workshop.
No.
I could reenact several scenes from The Patriot if I wanted to, I think.
I mean, you could even paint
with
like era-appropriate models, in fact. Right. I think that actually sounds like a really fun idea. Mm-hmm. Just in the middle of that video that you're doing, your reenactment is, side-by-side scene exactly, and then it's just a sprue-made rocking chair. And then you wreck your whole workshop.
Copyright strike. Yeah.
No. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've decided to cut these sprues down.
Yeah,
but that doesn't solve the problem.
It changes the problem. It doesn't. You keep the same weight of sprue, but the volume of sprue goes way, 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 way down.
Right. A lot of empty space in the middle of those sprues. Yeah.
And so going from kind of 2D sprues to 1D to pellets saves a lot of space. And as stupid as it is, I think I am making a video kind of on this topic of mostly the video is going to be, why am I doing this? But also like, wow, you can save a lot of space and really put off the decision of whether to actually keep this stuff or not if you just break them all down in pellets.
It's so ridiculous.
Okay.
Because I don't think you have a reason.
Some people at home are like, man, this Brent, he's lost it. But I'm going to show you something.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going to change some minds right here, right now. I'm going to reach under my desk and grab something here.
I think it's not that people are going to think you've lost it. I think that too many of us, and myself included, I'm mostly just making fun of you, but we are we're in the same boat. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay. Matt, if you're paying attention, I need you to make this sound really cool. And it's not going to take a lot. You know what? Don't touch it at all. Leave the audio exactly as it is. It's going to sound awesome.
This is like our attempt at some ASMR.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Casey, be quiet. Be quiet,
Shh,
Casey.
shh.
I rest my case.
That is oddly satisfying.
Isn't it?
It is.
It sounds like Legos, which makes me really curious about what Legos are made of. It might just also be polystyrene.
They probably are. I mean,
late tonight, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to find my Lego collection. I'm going to go pull out my plastic cement and run a few experiments.
Ooh, yeah. There you go. Is that the whole premise of the Lego movie? Like, he glues them all together? Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, I take everything back. Like, that is a good reason to do it, just to run your hands through sprue bits. I mean, when you think about it, and we have actually had a weird, like, side topic conversation about this, is that how much of your sprues, like, what is the actual cost, just per weight in the plastic and everything? If the box that you get of models, and you clip the models off, is that, like, 50% of the plastic in the box is, whatever? And then the rest of the plastic technically still holds value, even though it doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
I think we put a lot more value on it than it actually has.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, like if you type into Google, like the price of high-density polystyrene, you end up with, vendors in China selling literal tons of it for like $15 or whatever it is. It is not an expensive material.
Right.
And at the end of this, I am going to weigh my much smaller box of polystyrene pellets, do a little conversion, figure out that I have I don't know, a trip to Wendy's worth of plastic bits, maybe.
That's true.
And but that's not the point. The point is that for whatever reason, this plastic has a little bit of sentimental value. There's the idea that maybe I can do something with it, and in my case, I enjoy materials, so I'm curious about either partially dissolving it into a sprue goo and using it as filler in some way, maybe I'll make a little volcano out of it. Just do something fun.
A sculpted volcano out of the same material.
Or I get really into heat and fire someday, and I start really doing some business with this.
I mean, you could melt it, yeah.
Hey, I reached that point in my life. I'm going to want to have a bin worth of raw material,
Right, you just need that raw material. We've been trained since, the early 2000s to hoard raw materials. That's every video game ever. Like, do you need 10,000 of those flowers? Well, I do if I need to make that thing that does the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm compressing this down so that it fits neatly in one bank slot, and we're just going to leave that there until the right quest or the right crafting challenge comes along, and there we go.
I like the idea of it being a quest. That's good.
Yeah.
That much like the pointless and non-value sprue, it does elevate it a little. It makes it sound like it means something.
I just had a mental image of me renting out an actual bank security deposit box and just entirely packing it with sprues.
Just 50 pounds of
Games
Save it
Workshop
for a rainy plastic.
Day. Leave the key in my desk for when I pass along to whoever my heir ends up being.
Well, there's a thought. Just continue hoarding it until and will it to somebody, right?
Yeah. Put it in the will. Joke. Somebody takes a shower, puts on their best suit, goes to the local bank branch with their key. Like, yes, I am the heir. Can you show me? Like, I'm closing out this estate. They just get. I mean, anyone who's had to deal with all of the rest of my belongings after I pass is going to know what this is. They're going to be really angry. So,
because they didn't get it. That's right.
Yeah. Serves them right for not listening to episode 62 of Paint Bravely, the podcast,
exactly.
Which so far has entirely been about hoarding and sprues. So, we're going to leave this for a little bit. Casey, what have you been up to?
well, at least for the sprues thing, I do want to say I have a pretty unhealthy obsession with saving not just the sprues, right? But also the boxes that those sprues came in. So I have a good, 6x6 walk-in closet, and it is floor to ceiling with boxes pretty much filled with gray plastic. So, I'm in the same boat, like I was saying earlier. It's not different, although I think I'm taking mine a little bit further by keeping the boxes. I think you've made progress.
So I keep the boxes too. So for both of us, we have a little extra excuse. Someday we may make a video on this topic. Someday we may need that box for a thumbnail. 24-hour challenge, and you better be able to hold up the box for that challenge, not just...
Because I can't Photoshop at all.
Casey, you Photoshop on your smartphone.
That's true. Yeah, that picture of Brent and myself, and then what was it? Vince, John, Scott. Yeah. And Emil was in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that in like 2 minutes.
Right.
On my phone.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But anyways, that's kind of not the point of keeping the box, of course. No, and I guess I'll just keep telling myself that for all the boxes I've had for 20 years or so before starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, that does bring to mind, though, like other things that we might hoard in this hobby, because I think there are a lot more things that we don't actually necessarily need and we just keep.
Yeah.
I imagine we probably both have some weird ones.
I think probably, but I think we have some pretty standard ones too, Casey. I mean,
well, yeah.
Please leave in the comments below how many pounds of sprue you have in your apartment, house, whatever.
That'd be pretty good.
Let us know.
Yeah, because you have it. We all have it. I save like foam cutoffs, no matter the size. Like, I'm probably not going to make rocks out of those little tiny bits of foam. If I am, I'm going to...
But you could.
I could.
You sure could.
If I was gonna, I would probably just make new ones because it's more fun that way. Like, I'm not just going to dig through a box of old foam. Why would you do that?
Yeah, you're probably just going to use new foam, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the kind of the issue, right? Like, I have a drawer full of, like, foam bits I just don't. I forget at the time, too. It's like, oh, yeah, I could have probably used those. It's like, I didn't need to cut off that, other bit of foam and do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when I make my sprue volcano, we can put some of your little rocks around it and make a baking soda explosion.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it'll be perfect. We can use a soda can in the middle. Mm-hmm. Just put it right in there, and then just put the plastic over the top of it. Nice. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of this kind of came up because I am actually in the middle of packing up my entire studio. I might be moving. That's kind of the goal right now. Looking into buying a new place that has a bigger studio space that's like separate from the actual house. So I've just been going through all this stuff lately. And like the boxes and sprues, that's a big deal. Like, there's really no reason for me to keep that stuff. And like, yeah, we could use it in a thumbnail and all that. And I definitely have. I'm like, oh, I need that box. Or, take the camera into the closet and it's like, yes, this is this insanity, But, yeah, there's really no good reason to do that.
So when I save my boxes, I do flatten them. I carefully take them apart and flatten them. And so I have my pile of boxes has a lot more boxes in it than you'd expect for the size it takes up.
Right, yeah. Those things are pretty thin,
Yeah, cardboard. I'm all about the organizing, but saving a lot of stuff.
You're like a consolidation hoarder. Like, yeah. And that actually feels more like you have a specific quest in mind when you're doing it. You're like, okay, I'm going to take this pile and I'm going to make it tiny. And I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to take all these boxes and I'm going to flatten them and set those aside.
Yeah. And when you finally reach your snapping point, it's so much easier to take that down to the recycling bin.
Right.
Yeah.
That's smart. See, I don't do any of that. All the boxes are stacked up just like if I owned a store and they're on a shelf.
Well, you have a lot of boxes that still have a half full sprue in them, though, right?
Yeah. So that's my justification.
That's the way you do it.
Yeah. But that's not a good justification either, because honestly, I've said this before, if it's not like within arm's reach, if you can't see it, you're not going to use it. So there are bits that I have that I couldn't tell you where they were. I don't know what kit they're from. I'm like, I know there's a spider on a sprue somewhere. Maybe I can find it. I'll guess it's a goblin kit and go through 20 boxes if I have the time. But like, I'm not necessarily going to do that if it's in the moment. So if I had those bits and they were cut off and organized in a actual like organizational system, then I might actually use those bits. This is it's just, that's not a good way to do it. Just keep them in the boxes. So I wouldn't recommend that so much. Yeah. More to the point though, like thinking about actually moving, I had to reorganize everything. And it was tough. Like, I don't have space for this, and I should have space. Like, this hobby shouldn't take this much space.
Yeah, it's a paradox, man. I mean, each mini is very, very small in
right.
Tiny little bottles of paint.
Yeah, everything is miniaturized, yet here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the actual boxes take up a ton of space. If you have the box with the sprue in it, that takes up a way more space than the mini that comes in it. Like I remember, at Adepticon when we were trying to pack up and leave. Yeah, I was going to take the minis out of the God tier box and put them in my bag and throw the box away before I flew home, but someone just stole my God tier box, so that turned out even better, honestly.
Yeah, you didn't even have to do that. Although I did do that. I did that.
Yeah.
That worked fine. And they didn't break.
Do you miss the box?
No, I don't. I mean, okay, a little. I kind of do a little. Like, if I'm being honest. Like, I kind of, sort of wish I had it. But at the same time, I don't know where those models are, so it wouldn't matter anyways.
Yeah. Well, all of this business of hoarding is kind of coming to terms with your compulsions and making bargains with them.
Right.
And yeah. And you know, all of this sprue condensation is all about me making a bargain that I can hoard for longer if I hoard smaller. If I organize my hoard can be bigger.
That's true.
Yeah. But no, I am excited for you possibly moving, and I'm really curious to know how your process is going of being forced to confront your entire collection and maybe make some choices. Marie Kondo, yeah.
It's very much like that. I mean, I have definitely bought many, many bins, just different types of boxes to put things in. And I mean, it brought up a couple other things like transportation, which, you know, we don't have to get into, but, you know, trying to figure out how to hide everything in like a clean way that still protects everything is actually very difficult. Mm-hmm. You know, I've heard a lot of horror stories about like, oh, you know, I moved and half my collection busted and I got to fix it. Like I've gotten models from other people that are in a condition because of that. Oh, I moved and so can you fix this? Because whatever, something broke or they lost something, you know? Like a lot of models on eBay are kind of like that. They're just missing an arm because it's gone. It's just gone. Yeah, so a lot of organization trying to figure out where the stuff's going to go, at least in my closet right now, because we still have to like show the house. So it has to be clean for when people like come over and walk through. And that's been harder than probably just moving in general, because now I have to organize my hoarding problem and make
Right.
it presentable so other people don't like walk into my space and go like, I am not living here. Like, this is a little much, you know? So it's all stacked like neatly, and everything is kind of like brought to the front of each shelf evenly. So it looks really good. Like my hoarding has never looked so good.
Yeah.
But it is literally floor to ceiling, and it's, 8-foot tall ceiling, right? It's a lot of stuff.
Sure.
That's hard to make look good.
No,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what the reactions are when you're showing the house. So, or are you just going to be out of it? Like you
I'll
said
be
you were going
gone.
to do an open
Yeah.
house?
Yeah, so like I've been working way too hard the last couple of days and like all day today, trying to get my house ready because next Thursday I'm headed to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna do an open house like that weekend. So I won't be here all weekend, which is kind of weird. Just, in general, people wandering through your house, you're not even in town.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm a little bit afraid someone might steal something. I've got models out. Like, somebody could just take one. No one would ever know. So, I don't know. Would somebody do that? You think somebody would do that? I don't know.
I'm thinking about it. No, I don't think anyone would.
I hope not.
Oh, no, probably not. Yeah. So,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong. Your house has 3 bathrooms. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Now, when I visited your home,
Mm-hmm.
the bathroom that's closest to your hobby area has a shower in it. And when I visited, you had made the hoarder's compromise. You'd made a deal with yourself, a deal with your family, a deal with
did.
God that you were going to use the shower of your 3rd bathroom as storage space. So
Yeah.
so the shower was filled with 3D printers and hobby boxes, which
Yeah.
I thought that was genius. I thought I applauded that decision. That was
Not even consolidated, just, set up nicely. Yeah, it's like a double shower-headed shower too, so it's not small.
Look,
So I had a full desk with 3D printers and then a shelving unit that was like, again, floor to ceiling, that was filled with boxes and all sorts of stuff.
What do we need more? 3D printers or a 3rd shower in this house?
Exactly.
You made the choice that you needed to make, but now you got to show that house, and you needed to clean up a bit.
Yeah. In fact, now that you mention it, I am being reminded that there's still quite a bit of
You
stuff.
haven't cleaned that yet, have you? Oh my God, you need to clean your bathroom, Casey.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet, so I might need to get on that. But yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Oh my God. Oh, that's for real too. I literally forgot. That's so stupid. I mean, I took the 3D printers out, but not the whole shelf.
Okay.
There's still a whole shelf in there with stuff on. Anyways.
There's a shelving unit in your 3rd shower stall. Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. But I did start going through some stuff, and I did notice that I was keeping like, I don't know, stacks of like instructions for things that have been built years ago. And I did get rid of that stuff. So, I started to make a dent in that. The War Scroll cards that you can buy, if they're not just purely numbers, GW prints them in multiple languages. So, like,
Right.
if you buy a pack of, like, a Warcry warband or something, you get, like, 20 cards that aren't in English or whatever your language is. And it's like, I've been keeping those. And I bought, like, all of the card packs when they came out. So I had, like, a stack of cards that were just, like, neatly stacked, right? So I actually threw those away. It felt a little weird to see that in, like, a trash can.
Yeah.
Like when I put them in the trash can, I was like, this kind of feels wrong. It's like when you throw a sprue away, you're kind of like, well, but did maybe I missed a piece or something? I should probably not throw that away. What if I missed something?
Yeah, what if your Italian friend comes over to play Warcry?
Yeah.
And they don't speak any English, but they want to play Warcry with you, and you just threw away the rules for their warband.
The only possible way of communicating how to play this game, I tossed it away.
Yeah, sometimes you need to look at these things from a couple of different angles and really ask yourself, under what situation would I ever actually use this thing? That's
exactly what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I uncovered a good, 40 or 50 completely empty paint pots. Don't know why I have those. I don't need those. I even took the stickers off because I rebottled them.
Yeah. And the reason the reason you took them out of those paint pots is because those paint pots are terrible. The reason you transferred the paint is because those containers are the worst containers man has ever made for a liquid. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, the thought does run through your head though. It's like, these were kind of expensive, and there's like maybe on the edge, on the inside, there's a little, maybe I get a brush full. I get a brush full of paint. Mm-hmm. I can still see the color through the plastic. But like, no. I don't know why I'm doing that. So those had to go. Those are gone. Yeah.
That's a step. I'm proud of you. Every little step matters. That's a good one. Yeah.
Maybe I should have just cut those up too. Consolidate those.
No. That's extra dumb. That's too dumb.
Okay, taking it a step too far, maybe. That's possible. Yeah. The sprues I think I'll get to eventually. Like, there will come a time in a video where I'm just going to be like, you know what? This entire thing is just, I'm going to be clipping sprues. This is how you organize your sprues. That's it. That's all we're doing. And I'm going to take 2 weeks. I'm going to do them all. Someday that'll happen, maybe, possibly.
Now's the time. Hey, if you do close on a new place, and then all of a sudden you have like a month until you need to move, you just consolidate away. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Put a nice timer on that.
Yeah, just time-lapse the whole thing. That might take a few days. Straight clipping. I mean, even just cutting. How long did it take you to cut those, like, two boxes up? 2 totes?
Days.
Literal days just to cut them up with no precision?
Yeah. I mean, there needs to be rests because I got like 3 blisters on my fingers in places I've never gotten blisters before from this
weird like clipper blisters.
Husky clippers here. Yeah.
Wait, what? You're not even using like sprue clippers? What do you got there?
Oh, this is way heavier. This is like wire cutters. This is like heavy duty wire cutters.
Okay. And, so you're not concerned about the flushness of your cuts on those sprues?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
I'm not concerned about the flushness of the cuts, and I want to preserve the sharpness of my actual sprue cutters. So, yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
And these are beefy, meaty.
Yeah. Not recommended for actually clipping sprues.
No, but these are doing me good. But I got some blisters, and actually, after the first day, my hands were aching, were tired. I had to poke and drain 2 of the 3 blisters I had, but they're healing up nicely. They've toughened up nicely, and I've been able to get more and more hours of clipping every day. I've trained my body, my mind.
Okay. Okay, that got me. That got me too good. Like somehow there's this like an amount of training involved of like cutting sprues, like getting in there. You got blisters and stuff. Like
yeah,
this
hobby, I said it in a funny way, but I'm really getting better at it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you're getting way more precise with the giant clippers, and you know exactly where those are gonna cut and how
there's an economy
how much
of motion.
pressure. Yeah.
No, I've learned to detach the outer rectangle from the sprues. So I go around, I take off the outer rectangle, then I cut the outer rectangle into 4 strips, which I put to the side. I'll get to those later. And then I go through the inside of the sprue. That's the really time-taking one because they're all different. They're all shaped different. The insides, depending on what bits were there.
Yeah.
Just go and clip, 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 clip. And I'm finding the ways to that economy of motion to get the just the right amount of strength, the precision, and then to make sure that the clippers open up again. So the right amount of strength and actually, kind of brace them against my chest a little bit so that it's not all hand squeezing. It's a little bit of, the rest of the muscles in the arm just kind of pushing in against this chest. Yeah. So I'm really getting this figured out. And again, all of this is because I might use that sprue powder one of these days. Yeah. I did burn out a blender. Yeah, I tried to use a blender first. I'm not an idiot. Like,
why did I think of that? Oh yeah, I'll just go grab a blender. Let's throw these sprues in and see what happens.
It worked pretty well for about 20 minutes before part of the drivetrain of that blender is just plastic with like a metal nut embedded in it and just completely stripped itself. So
I bet it did.
Yeah.
Just couldn't take it. I mean, you're over here getting blisters. I could see it. Those sprues are tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But one of these days, Goobertown Hobbies is gonna find a use for all this sprue bits. So
I hope so, because I don't know. I honestly can't think of any good reason to do that.
It's either going to involve melting or organic solvent melting. Heat.
I mean, I feel like it's more in your wheelhouse to like use a solvent because you can also explain the process. That feels like it would make sense.
We'll figure it out.
But how? Yeah.
Look, condensing this gives me time. This gives me time and space to keep building this collection until I get the perfect use. And yeah, but I'm not under the same pressure as you're under. You are considering moving your house. You need to get things out of your shower. You need to condense your collection so that there's no longer stuff in your shower, because otherwise, who's going to buy that house?
I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. Like, I feel like that my singular room in this house is like going to be the stain on the entire thing, and people are going to be like, I can't do that. It's not, yeah. Like, I took down, okay, a little update for those of you who've been asking about the Hot Wheels channel that I talked about a long time ago. I had to... Brent's giving me a hard time.
I wasn't going to bring it up. This is all you. I'm glad you're bringing it up, but
I know I had to. I felt obligated because I have been asked somewhat recently about the Hot Wheels channel, and that's still a thing. I've invested in the equipment and the proper stuff to do it. But I had to deconstruct my Hot Wheels track, my indoor track. That was like half finished too. It was like the track was done, and I had all the like landscaping kind of like prefabbed out with like cardboard and stuff. And I was going to come back in with, some other stuff to make the terrain look real, right? Yeah, I had to take it apart. The realtor walked in and he's like, that's got to go. There's a door behind that track. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you made that point perfectly clear before.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, explain that.
So my office has an outside door, and I built a track in front of it because, I don't use that door.
You nailed your Hot Wheels track to the door, just so we're really clear here.
So we're really, really clear. I screwed it in because that way I could take it out and apart if I had to. Yeah, I spent like a good hour and a half. I took the whole thing apart. And I patched all the holes. It looks great. Repainted everything. So it's not like it did any damage, you know what I mean? Maybe internally. Certainly to my soul. But yeah, that's still a thing. It's gonna get there. I'm saving all the wood, so
You
it's
learned
like that
a lot,
futon wood.
and the next time you put that together, it's going to be even better. Maybe your new place will have 2 doors that you can nail it into. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty sturdy, Oh yeah, it's a good spot. Oh. It's a good spot to frame things. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was a questionable decision for sure. It's one of those things, but that kind of does play into the hoarding kind of thing a bit. Like I don't have the room, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do it anyways. You need to like walk me through your mental process of how you finally came to the conclusion that you needed to clip the sprues into smaller sprues. Because I need some of that wisdom. I need to consolidate. I need that organizational system. I don't have that. I think a lot of people listening don't have that.
Okay, so it all started when I saw a big box of sprues sitting down in the basement next to my old blender. And then I started to think about
Revelation.
it. So I was planning on spending like 2 hours just blending it all down, and I got started and I realized like, okay, this is going to take a lot longer because you can only fit so many sprues into this blender cup at the same time. And then after 20 minutes, it burned out anyway. And I had gotten 3 cameras set up, so I was going to do like 3 cameras. It was going to take me 2 hours to blend down my lifetime collection of sprues, and I was going to edit that up and do like the stupidest video I've ever made. Then the blender blows out after 20 minutes. And like, I've got all the cameras set up. I've got this just mound of sprues in front of me. And I'm going to be honest, I went to the Blend Tech website to consider buying like an industrial blender and found out that was the cheapest one was $400 and it went definitely above $1,000. And like, oh my I thought about it for longer than I should have, but I did correctly decide not to do that. Yeah.
After blending up all this plastic, I could make a mean margarita, maybe. I think that might be in order. Yeah. Getting all the plastic out, though. I mean, because at that point, you would have had powder, like sprue powder. Although, if you really could, putting that sprue powder in like little vials, that's not terrible. Because then you could actually measure it if you want to make sprue glue in like a very specific consistency. 2 vials for like gap filling. It ended up being a
mix of shavings and bits and big bits, and so it wasn't great.
Okay, well, that's too bad.
I actually would like the product of clipping better. But yeah, no, I had a big pile of sprues out. I had all my cameras set up. I was committed. So I just pulled out my big old wire snippers and got to it. But as demonstrated before, it is a really fun box to have, and I don't know, just running your hands through all those old sprues. Ooh, is it good?
You liken the sound and feeling to that of Legos.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I pose this to you. Would it not be more fun to just have a box of Legos?
I have that too.
Oh, I mean, I imagine you would, but just saying.
This is cheaper if you already have the trash. Yeah.
It's like that's what I mean, though. I don't think it is cheaper. I think it's a more expensive, like, waste product. It's like you can't, like, Legos are expensive, but like those bits of sprue, the leftovers cost more than like what you
Stop turning this back on me, Casey.
Let's talk
about you cleaning out your bathroom.
I'll get there. There's definitely some boxes left. The problem with that too is like most of them are filled with sprues. They're full sprues with models on them, but they're not in like their own boxes. So I can't just like slide them on the shelf, right? I gotta like put them in something else that doesn't look like crap. So it just brings up the whole transportation thing again. I don't know what to do with that stuff. Like, I don't want them to be in a box because I don't want to damage the like relatively expensive models. I don't know. I'm at a loss for this thing, and I'm not slowing down. I'm only accumulating more every day.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're end up in a situation where you have some overlap in your move, and if you're moving in the same town, you might be able to, go a little bit easier with the transport of your models. Big box, lots of foam. Yeah.
Luckily, at least the place that we are looking at is like a block and a half away.
Yeah.
So it'll just be like, we're going to set everything in the car and like not tie anything down or box it. We're just going to drive it on over and put it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
So it's like in my head, it makes me think this is going to be the easiest move ever.
Get your son to carry over one model at a time.
You take this and you just be careful. You walk
this
up that
Daddy's
street.
Crack-a-drac. You be careful. Don't you drop this.
Oh, man.
This is Daddy's Orc War Boss. Don't you drop this.
Well,
be very careful. Both hands.
Definitely.
Both hands. Go to the new house. This goes in Detolf number 3. Detolf number 3.
Exactly. Oh, man. That actually, I'm looking forward to potentially getting some of those. Them Detolfs. Because I have basically no like actual displays. Because I have no room. But it would be nice to do that. And I think, at least in a new space, I could kind of set it up a little differently and have an actual display. I can even, like, if we end up in the place that we're looking at, it's big enough that I can put a full game table, like a couch in there, that kind of thing. So, it like a proper game area, I guess. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll see. In the meantime, I'm still just going through drawers. I haven't cleaned out any of like the actual drawers that I have that are on my like work boxes, the tool boxes. Pretty sure.
Wheel those down the street, man. They're on wheels. They got casters. Yeah.
Yeah, they have some pretty beefy casters right there. Yeah. They're nice. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm literally just going to wheel them a couple of blocks down the road, and that should work. Somebody's gonna stop me and be like, did you steal that from someone's garage? What are you doing? Yeah. So is there any actual way in this hobby to avoid hoarding at all?
I think that's up to each person. We each have our own proclivities, and I don't know. I think this hobby lends itself to hoarding. Like you said, normally it is small items. Like normally you're hoarding small things. Yeah, I've also been paring down my collection of bicycle equipment. Like I've got a pile of old like bike tires and stuff. And a bike tire takes up way more room than a Mini does.
That's true.
Yeah. So, which is an excuse to hoard more.
Minis or bike tires?
Minis.
Okay. Are these bike tires still good?
Sure.
Okay. Just checking.
The tube might need a replacement, but the tire's still good.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Oh man. One of the other things that I had that I actually ended up like it was not a good process. I had to get rid of a lot of like 3D print supports. Like a lot. Cause after you're done with a 3D print, you get this like nice little, I don't know, ruined architecture looking thing that supported the model when it was printing. And it's like, well, that could be like a ruined building or something, Mm-hmm. Could be a thing that I could use.
Yeah, they look.
Yeah. So I had like a bin of them just full. And of course, with supports like that, like they're not necessarily always super clean. So yeah, a lot of it was like covered in resin still.
Ugh.
So like I got to that box and I'm like, all right, gotta get some gloves on, do the whole thing. I ended up just throwing away the box in its entirety. Like I actually made that like, no, this is too much. Like wet resin in a box is too much.
Yeah, so for people with 3D printers, I think the printed supports can be a very tempting thing to hoard. Because a lot of times the support structures, they have, all those interlocking triangles, and they look like they could be part of a girder, a support. Yeah.
It's exactly what comes to mind.
Whatever the word is for the things that run along above stages, like the girder, I think might be.
Girders, trellis.
Yeah.
Metal piping. I should know. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
There's a specific word.
It looks like it would be a cool accent as part of a bunch of rubble, as like some steel that was part of a building before it got destroyed or whatever.
Like one of those little end pieces could be like a piece of rebar sticking out,
Exactly.
It's tempting. That's what I'm saying.
It is tempting. So I do have like a plastic baggie of old supports for 3D prints. And I have told myself, I will never use more than this baggie. And if I do, I'll just print out some cool bits for whatever terrain project.
To just use, yeah. That's fair. Print out the stone rubble and then use the supports as rebar and metal framework.
Yeah.
That's actually not a terrible idea.
Right. So, trash and random basing materials are something that I think that it's very easy to hoard. So
that's getting into a little bit the deeper, darker side of it. Like you're saving I have a pretty good collection of water bottle caps. Because Kenny Boucher told me to keep them, so I did.
For mixing and stuff.
Yeah. So he likes to take the airbrush, right? He'll mix it in the cup or whatever, and he's like, oh, I might need this in 20 minutes. Pours it into the cap, sets it aside.
Yeah.
And that I've never actually had to go back, or I'll just get the paint again. I've never used, but I have them.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's a thing. I still have to throw those away, probably.
Okay. That's something that you probably won't build up a debilitating collection of those.
Just a drawer.
A drawer's still a fair bit.
A drawer filled with bottle caps and wine corks.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
For a lot of those weird items, I think you can, draw the line at a quarter-sized clear Ziploc bag, just like for getting on an airplane. This is your limit. Have a limit of a little baggie of water
see there's
caps.
The wisdom that I was looking for, right? That you get yourself a container, and then you say, this is all I'm keeping.
Sure.
I like that. That's a good way to go. So for bottle caps, I'll label my plastic baggie airbrush bottle caps, and I'll keep this much. I like that. Okay. It's a good rule.
There you go. You were talking about wine corks too?
Wine corks. Yeah, I got a good, I don't know, couple of gallon bags worth of wine corks.
And that's because you bought a couple of gallon bags of wine corks, right?
Yeah, I actually bought the corks. I don't drink wine.
Okay. So you just bought too many corks?
It seemed like a good idea at the time. My thought was man, I could mount bits to these for, sub assemblies, or, I could shave off bits to make cork things on bases. And I've gone through a few of them, but not 300 or 400 of them.
Right. No, I also bought a collection of wine corks, and I have used them to stick bits on for, painting individual bits and having a little handle for them. And that works well. And yes, I suppose in theory you could use little fragments of the cork for basing. Again, I think just having a little quart-sized bag, and that's the limit. You put your 20 corks in there, and if you run out, I guess you can drink more wine.
Buy more wine, yeah.
And this one does sound like more of an issue for people who actually consume wine. Anything hoarding trash is where it can start to get dicey. like a little weird bits of plastic and stuff. Like, oh, I might use that for something. Throw it in a drawer. Or every time you have a water bottle or a bottle of wine, if you're saving the tops for those, every time, that could add up after a while. And I think being reasonable with yourself and saying, like, here's the container where I'm going to keep this in. Once it's full, I do not need any more of these things.
All right. So that sounds like a good way to take the things and definitely consolidate them. Still questioning the sprues a bit, but okay, I'll give it to you. I think between the two of us, I'm pretty sure I'm on the worst end of this anyways. So...
yeah, you got to move soon. That's why.
That's true. It's all coming out. It's coming up. Like I'm kind of panicking a little bit. It's a lot. So, yeah. I used to have like my computer in that closet, and like a lot of the stuff was out in the main room. And now it's the opposite. I got like my computer's out here, and everything's put away, and it's like clean. And I don't know. Like I can't work like this. This is too much.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So you've been cutting up sprues this week. That was a good first one.
Yeah, well, on that note.
Okay, that's fine with me. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, I don't know. All right, why would we do that? Like, I guess.
Do you have anything else to talk about? I don't know. I've been losing my mind cutting up sprues over here. Is that
apparently
a whole episode? Do people need more of a...
Well, I did want to talk about a couple other things, but whatever. If you want to just be like, no, we're done.
No, I gotta go cut up more sprues. I was kidding. Talk about your other things. Let's go.
Oh, man. So I painted, see, now this just feels weird. Okay. I painted a Skaven Warlock Bombardier this week. Right? And it looks sick. I love it. It turned out great. But I converted it from the Warhammer Age of Sigmar to the Warhammer 40Ks. Right? And it kind of brought up this whole thing for me. Like, why aren't Skaven, the rat men of Warhammer, being treated properly? Like, what's up with that? They're not getting new models almost ever, if any. Like they are getting a new book, but it's like there's nothing new going on. They're certainly not in Warhammer 40K. And I kind of unearthed this like underground conversion scene of space rats. And I just really, really liked it. Like, tons of people are taking these old fantasy models and converting them, just basically like giving them armor and guns and other cool futuristic things. And it's like, this actually makes this a lot more fun. Like, these are very specific models that you have to convert as an entire army. Obviously, you proxy that in whatever rule set makes the most sense. I figured kind of orcs would make sense for that, like rats, orcs, not that far off. But yeah, so it got me thinking, and I ended up making an entire video about it, and I started a petition for change. I will leave the link. Can I find this
right now? Can I look up this petition?
Yeah, so it's change.org/bring Skaven to 40K. Typing, hitting microphone. Yeah, so I don't know. It was mostly for fun. I thought it would just be kind of funny to like try and get people to sign. I haven't really told anybody yet, so this will be the first place where it actually goes up, and I'm going to put the link in the description. Check it out, because it would be really funny if we could make something happen, even just like a minor thing. Just bring awareness to the whole thing. That's my goal.
I'm on change.org, and I've found exactly one Warhammer 40K petition. It's from 5 years ago. It has 50 supporters. Approach Games Workshop about making a Warhammer 40K video game.
Oh, no.
Yours isn't even coming up in the search results here, Casey. You've been bested by the dumbest petition I've ever seen.
That's not good. I wonder if there's still. That doesn't make any sense.
The person who made this petition really should be aware of at least the video game Space Marine. I don't know.
When was that made? Like 5 years ago?
Closer to 10, I think. But
the
petition
was
made 5 years ago.
Yeah, so that game was out, and
anyway,
Dawn of War 1 and 2 and 3.
Casey's going to figure out the computer aspect of this. He's going to make sure that you can log into change.org to advocate for Warhammer 40k Space Rats.
Yeah.
Because that is cool. I agree with you. That is cool.
It's just cool. That's literally the only reason. And honestly, like, if they say something or not, it doesn't matter. It's just funny. Like, if you were unaware that Space Rats is an actual thing that people do, now you're aware.
Yeah.
It's bringing awareness. Yeah.
Well, Casey, I've talked before about the reason Twitter exists. The reason Twitter exists is to farm likes and follows, so that when you really get a bee in your bonnet, you can take it to the man. And so you gotta grow your Twitter following, so that you start that Twitter brigade about Space Rats.
Well, I am planning on sharing it there. You're right, but I don't care about Twitter at all. Like, I just don't. So,
hey, if you want to lead a mob of angry nerds who believe strongly in official Space Rats, you got to get on the right platform, man. All
right, well, I'll consider that. I don't think
the Barack Obama administration that made change.org is really going to help you out getting a company from Great Britain in the modern era to update the rat line to the 41st millennium. I don't think that's going to work. I don't know.
It might.
I don't know.
It might get there. You never know. Yeah. It could be me and like 20 other people, and we're just going to be in the corner converting rats and, putting space helmets on them, and
which is also good. So I think the other issue here is that it might just be more fun for you to have a completely unique space rat army that is all your own, all the product of your imagination, and that one weird subreddit with 20 followers. Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good point. But see, I don't know. I get
you could dominate that subreddit. Get into Reddit. Yeah, you can be like the man.
Yeah. Someday I'll move to 4chan even and really take over.
No, actually, I bet that subreddit already has like admin mods.
That specific one, I'm sure
that would be like threatened by a big dog Casey coming in there trying to space up his rats.
Listen, like, we need to change. We need to fight the power.
You might just get banned from that subreddit because they're intimidated by you.
Oh yeah. Well, that'd be good too. I would. Bad press is good press, right? It's all the same.
Oh, yeah. I got another topic. So Sergio Calvo.
Yes.
Which is probably also pronounced a little bit different with a little bit of a twang, a little bit of a Sergio Calvo. He emailed me just to introduce himself, which I thought was really nice, and I watched some of his more recent videos, and they are very good. So this segment is just me plugging Sergio Calvo's videos. Yeah,
why don't we just talk about how awesome that dude is? Because I've been watching his stuff for a while, and I know we talked about it a little bit on the last episode 61, about how maybe not you learn things or you don't learn things from actually watching mini painting videos. Now I'm still on the side of like, not really, but you get inspired, you get to trying things, and then you can figure those things out. And maybe you get a little jump start with the information that you've been given, but whatever, we're not going to go into that. But Sergio Calvo's videos are almost always in focus, and you can see a lot of brush strokes, and you can see what he's doing, and you kind of get the idea why he's making certain decisions. one of the things that I noticed the most is how the color goes from, okay, if I'm painting, purple, right? Or he's painting purple. All of a sudden, like the next step up is like actually considerably brighter, like the next layer. Right. Where I always think like, oh, I don't want to go too bright. Like let's work it slowly. This dude is like taking the paint, just like, no, that's what color needs to be there, and he puts it there. And then
put some serious contrast on, like jarring contrast.
Yeah.
Often he'll come back with like a little bit of a tint through the airbrush to smooth things out a bit.
Yes. Which I've seen that technique before, and it's a difficult thing to pull off, because it is like knowing what color goes where and how to blend the two, it's the whole thing. But yeah, he comes back in there, blends it together with an airbrush on very tiny models, like in places that you probably wouldn't normally airbrush. Like he's getting in there, and the videos are like no talking in any of them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he is Spanish or lives in Spain or is a native Spanish speaker. I don't know. He chooses not to use a voiceover in his videos. It's just very soothing music. A little bit like Goobertown Hobbies music, honestly, but there's no talking. It's just very good painting in focus. It's logical. You don't need words to figure out kind of what he's doing. And I felt like I learned something, and so we didn't talk about that last episode, but we should have. And yeah,
definitely highly recommended though.
Yeah,
I love that channel. It's good.
Yep, Sergio Calvo Miniatures. He put out a very good video a couple of days ago. It's titled like I spent 500 hours on this paint job, which wow. I mean, it looks amazing. I don't have the patience for that, but it looks amazing. And so I left a comment like, wow, great job or whatever. And I get a notification on my phone that he pinned that comment. And I'm like, look at that.
That's nice. Yeah.
That's cool. And anyway, I go back to the video a little while later to see if it's doing well or not, because I obviously put a ton of effort into it. It's a great video. I want it to be getting views. So I go back to that video to see how it's doing. My comment is no longer pinned. Now a comment from Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy is pinned on that video.
So good. That's so good.
Just traded up there, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Then your comment just got buried. How unfortunate.
I see you. We've established like a ranking system here of who matters in Sergio Calvo's world, but this is all in good
so
fun. Duncan's a very nice man. It's okay. His comment could be on the top. I don't even care. You
don't even care.
Yeah,
Brent doesn't care at all.
No, I don't
Not even a little bit.
Doesn't even bother me.
Doesn't bother him at all. Yeah. No.
You're not even going to think about it at all. I'm trying to sleep tonight. Not at all.
No, didn't bring it up in the last 10 minutes of this podcast that we planned a week ago. That's fine.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
thank you again
note,
for ruined. Ruined again. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us in another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time. Sign that petition.
Change.org. Be the change you want to see in the 41st millennium.
Yeah. That.